This is the 2030. It is a UN agenda item, and it has 17 sustainable development goals. And my concern, it's a 15-year master plan for the planet. It is about transforming our world. And if you believe in free markets, the sovereignty of the United States, the Constitution, this transformation is not for you. We heard President Obama talk about fundamentally transforming our country, and we saw what we got. Record deficits, along with the attempts to sign us up for the Paris Accords, and which Pima County has defied our president and has signed up for the Paris Accord. It's clearly, in the Paris Accords, if you read that, it was clearly about a transference of the wealth redistributing from the Western nations to the rest of the world. Go ahead and Google it, read it for yourself. It is about making us all dependent on government, all dependent on one world government, the UN-style government to dictate to us all how we live, where we live, complete and utter control of our lives. While the goals, if you read through them, they're written to sound very benign, to sound like things we should all do. And trust me, I'm trying to be a conservationist in my home. We're redoing our sprinkler system because it had a lot of leaks, and doing it with the pipe instead of the hose, doing those kinds of things. And I think we all can agree that we all need to do to conserve our energy, conserve our environment, conserve water, everything we can do to do those things. But we don't need an organization or a district to tell us how to do it. It's fine to have education. The nonprofit can educate people that are interested, including myself. But when you start forming districts, sooner or later, it's going to come that things are going to start being imposed on the community, and they become very expensive. It is, as I said, it's a global effort by the UN along with the Paris Accords. It's about this world order vision for those who wish to dominate all of us and define every facet of our lives. It is about global sustainability with costs in the trillions. If you start doing your homework on this and you start looking into it, it is going to cost money. Once these parameters are defined for what we need to do, how we need to live, what we need to do, you're going to measure the efficiency of buildings. Are you going to recommend we do nothing? Are you going to say, oh, okay, this building isn't very good? No, you're going to recommend that we make changes. And obvious common sense, putting in the light bulbs, as the one gentleman suggested. Yes, we're all doing that. I just don't like people directing my life and telling me how to do it. I like our sovereignty. I like our country as defined by our Constitution. I like our way of life. And I don't want the United Nations transforming our world, our country. We need to stand up for our country and end this complete oligarch-style government, which will enslave all of us, every one of us. That's what's happening. Why is it coming from the UN? It'll end the world as we know it, as we love it, our country. And yes, in fact, it will fundamentally transform our country. It'll fundamentally transform our world. This isn't a meaningless item. It isn't a joke. It is yet another example of the slow and methodically chipping away at our rights as citizens, at our freedoms, at our rights as defined by our Constitution. And if you read through these items, it sounds amazing, just like UN Agenda 21, just like the Paris Climate Accords. But then you start going, this isn't going to be a group that does this just to say, that building doesn't have very good energy efficiency. They're going to start directing you on what you need to do and how you need to do it. And I don't know about you, but I like the free world. And I don't want anybody directing me. And the costs associated are, do your research, folks. It's going to be huge costs associated with it. And all we need to do is look at Paris right now. The citizens are revolting because of these Paris Climate Accords, climate change. They had to impose taxes on their gas. It's like over $3 and something in taxes. They imposed even further taxes. Now they're killing the middle class. And this is what this is. You don't need to look very far to figure out what this is all about. And they're killing the middle class in France. And on the Champs-Elysees, who would have ever thought you'd see what you're seeing? Citizens setting fires in the middle of the streets. They're so upset because they are being economically destroyed, the middle class in France. So that is my objection. And Mr. Isley, I used to work with you years ago. You were a consultant on a software program, and you did an amazing job. And I have no doubt that your intentions are really good. But these are very strong concerns, and they're not unfounded concerns. And I just have a real problem with anyone getting further, more control, forming more districts. More districts. Why do you form a district? You want control of that district. Be afraid, people. Thank you.